Hey, Dan Passarelli here. Well, we made it to the weekend. How about that? And geez Louise, what kind of week it was. Oh man. So we had quite an up week here, didn't we? Geez, up over 2% on the week. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about that. We have had a pretty strong market. We made all new highs, all-time highs, as a matter of fact, in the S&P 500. SPY closing at 614.91 on the day, with the VIX, oh my goodness, down around 16. It's like there's no worries in the world. Holy cow. Now, some other things to take note of let's start with a technical standpoint. RSI has somehow managed to not make it into the overbought zone. So that just looks strong. While implied volatility, of course, just kind of came down from the high, just doing the opposite of the market, which is common. We've got a golden cross setting up here in the S&P 500. Looks like we need about maybe 2 more days to confirm that. And unless there's a pretty good pullback on Monday or Tuesday, it's likely to get confirmed just based on the pattern that we have having come drawn out so far. Now, from a fundamental standpoint, we got some things cooking here. One of the things we have cooking is next week we have the monthly non-farm payrolls. Of course, Thursday we have the weekly unemployment claims. But today we got some inflation data, and yesterday we got some inflation data, and so inflation is a little hotter than expected, which is going the wrong way. I mean, it's just a smidge hotter than expected, but it was already too high. When we talk about hotter than expected, those are deltas. Those are changes, not exact numbers. So like when inflation is coming down, that means prices are still going up, just not by as much. So prices are going up still, but by a little bit more than expected. So it is a little bit of an issue. Now, this weekend, I'm supposed to start working on this big, beautiful bill, right? So if it doesn't pass, I got a feeling that the market is going to pull back. If it does pass, it's kind of good news and bad news. The market's probably going to go up, I think, if it does. But that's because of just the massive spending that is very, very likely to lead to higher inflation. I think that's fairly universally thought by economists, neutral economists. So just because we have greater inflation doesn't necessarily mean that the stock market doesn't go up. In real terms, it may or may not go up, because if inflation's high and the market is high, the market has to go up higher to cover that amount that inflation is. But nonetheless, look, when we're trading options based on a stock, it just matters if the stock goes up. It doesn't matter if it actually creates wealth for us or not, right? We're talking about trading. We're talking about investing. So that being said, there's not too much in the way of the market continuing higher, except to fill some gaps that were established in the past from a technical standpoint and from a fundamental standpoint. That bill not ending up going through some problems, and anything else that could happen in the geopolitical world. That being said, friends, weekends are a great time to do some of that fundamental research or just reading up on stocks research to find better candidates for investments for our covered calls, for our cash secured puts, and for our long-term investing. So be busy this weekend and have fun with it. This is Dan Passarelli. Trade smart.